We bring you guests that challenge the narrative, unveil what power hides, and spark national debate, speaking truth to power, from the grassroots to the highest offices. EMV. We bring you guests that challenge the narrative, unveil what power hides, and spark national debate, speaking truth to power, from the grassroots to the highest offices. EMV.
Lero bwacha bakamba mu kyalo ky'esu kya Zambia ekyaweka Njoy. Abantu baafa bakamba kule mu nfumbwe. More than 20 people balebe pati ni babiri. Bagamba. Fish to arufyanye. People have died. Mumino yabaka pokola. The police killing people. Why? In the same government bagamba. Abductions have happened. Bagamba. If you're not with them, it's either you're dead or you're in prison. This government, you're going to change, big man. Fish to arufyanya bakubika mu office. Fish to arufyanya. Why me? Missing. Achani ruba mwacho and dishonor. Where is why me? HH, tell us with your government, where is why me? Give us why me. Justice for why me, big man. Wachila mo HH. Wala tupwisha bega kutupwisha bagamba. Katwale kya kulanda big man. Why you think? Maana watata. Sabia tuwasevana. Bagamba. Wanesa tuwapweni. Mujala chetu. Icha Zambia. Tuamona mwempwa. Bagamba. Tuamona mwempwa. Nama abductions bagamba. Ubuteko tualeta. Wadulete lama. Amazala mush. No you can take her. Kola ipompa today. No you can take her. Apa number bane. Mufulo pa mufulo. Mufulo pa mufulo. Wakuvota bane. Mufulo pa mufulo. Mufulo pa mufulo. Wakufuatika. Mufulo pa mufulo. Mufulo pa mufulo. Wakufuatika fuatika. Mufulo pa mufulo. Mufulo pa mufulo. When you die kwa fwe. Mufulo pa mufulo. Mufulo pa mufulo. Aikona man. Mufulo pa mufulo. Mufulo pa mufulo. Ika yakwa fwe. Mufulo pa mufulo. Mufulo pa mufulo. Yakuliati kwenyu. Mufulo pa mufulo. Mufulo pa mufulo. Mayona batata. Mayona batata. Bayuthi. Tyentuisuli amenso. Tyentuisuli amenso. Batusendela nomba batwipaira na hope Yesu. Endika chagwa lungu watubela tinani mkwatila plan B. Nomba tuwadishiba plan B aba mmino ya kualesa. Bantu banga abalafa mu kyalo ky'esu kya Zambia. Nibanga abantu abala abducted mu kyalo ky'esu kya Zambia. Bambire kuli jeje banda. Nibanga abantu abala ba mu prison. Abena chitotela chilangwa. Wonse baba prison n'entunguru kina shimbi na shimbi. Muri one government ya kwa HH. Abantu naba famweleza. Aikata nomba baikata na kuyetika chakwa lungu atukwatile plan B. Abakubo byabyo mufulo big man. Mufulo pa mufulo. Bilabine batsendela yetika chakwa lungu. Apa nomba bane. Mufulo pa mufulo. Mufulo pa mufulo. Wakuvota bane. Mufulo pa mufulo. Mufulo pa mufulo. Wakufuatika. Mufulo pa mufulo. Mufulo pa mufulo. Wakufuatika fuatika. Mufulo pa mufulo. Mufulo pa mufulo. When you die kwa fwe. Mufulo pa mufulo. Mufulo pa mufulo. Aikona man. Mufulo pa mufulo. Mufulo pa mufulo. Ita yakwa fwe. Mufulo pa mufulo. Mufulo HH does not mean well for Mother Zambia. Zambia to Asebana, this is not the Mother Zambia that we were left with by our ancestors, our forefathers who fought so hard to liberate us. Dr. Kenneth Kaunda, Nalumino Mundia, Mama Julia Chikamoneka, Simon Mwansaka Pwepwe, they fought so hard to put this country on the map, to put this country where it is today. No man would destroy this country because we believe in unity. One Zambia, one nation, and we shall together we will change, and we are going to change this government. My name is Blaze Zambia.
It's yet another day that the Lord has made, and we shall be glad in it. Today, we are grateful as EMV that we are hosting Zambia Must Prosper president, newly elected president. He got affirmation and he held a conference or a convention in Kitwe. He's going to tell us about it. What are the prospects for Zambia Must Prosper? What is their role in uniting the opposition? What is their game plan for 2026? How will they participate in the general elections that is due next year? So we are hosting Honorable Kelvin Fubebwalia, KBF, famously known as KBF. He held a very successful convention in Kitwe, and I'm bringing him on to tell us more about that. KBF, good evening and welcome to today's program, and congratulations for the successful conference that you held with your delegates across the country.
Good evening, Ambassador, and good evening, viewers. Good evening, everyone in the diaspora across the country of Zambia. And thank you very much on your message of congratulations. We are glad to be here, and we will hope to enjoy this conversation with you.
Congratulations to you and the Vice President, I think Honorable Katolo, that were elected at that conference.
Correct.
How did you pull it off?
Yes.
Did the police stop you? You know, public gatherings are very rare for the opposition, although conferences before general elections are now mandatory under constitutional. Sometimes the police do not understand that. Did you have any difficulties with the police?
No. Yes, we did slightly have a bit of difficulties. Initially, we had slated the conference to be held at Moba Hotel in Kitwe, and we had applied for this permit almost 2.5 months ago. But the police kept giving us the runaround and manner of excuse and everything that goes with delays. Eventually fell into a little obstacle because the provincial chairman of our party lost his wife during the process. So when the initial permit came out, we couldn't host the convention because unfortunately we had to attend to the funeral. Then we reapplied. Again, as you understand, we had to go through command in Ndola. There was communication between Ndola and Kitwe, and then eventually they gave us the permit, I think a week before we held the convention on, I think it was about the 14th or somewhere there. And we had now to scramble within the week to make sure that all organizations, transportation, logisticals, and everything was done. But when we went to Moba, now to go and pay and get the venue which we originally wanted, we were told that the Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Local Government had taken up Moba Hotel. So again, we had to scramble and get an open venue, which was the Mist Gardens, which is just off the dual carriage way along the Kitwe-Ndola Road. So we scrambled again, but we've done this before. We understand government sometimes can come in to disrupt, but we were not deterred. We moved on, and eventually the convention did take place. And I'm glad to report that we successfully held the convention and the leadership was elected.
Just briefly, how is the structure of your party, your National Management Committee or your Politburo or Central Committee? I don't know how you call it. Just briefly tell us your structure.
Our national management team as the National Crusade team. So currently we have the President, Vice President, my learned colleague, Miuna Katolo. We have the Secretary General, Mr. Mlenga Chela. We have the Deputy Secretary General, Captain Cecilia Limania. We have the Political Director, Lucy Ataba. We have the provincial leadership across the country. We have the Mobilization Chair. We have the Finance, Treasury, and we also have the National Women's League, led by Mama Vovo, or we call her Mama Region, who is Marjorie Kasanda Mwansa. Then we have the Youth League, which is now being led by Kefas Dak, and those three pillars basically comprise the party. We have the main body, we have the Women's League, then we have the Youth League, and these combined form the structures of the party going down. And each one of those comes to form what we term as the National Convention, and that's what led to the convention being held.
Oh, wonderful. At the conference, you made a very good speech, but among the controversial issue is you extended an olive branch to the Patriotic Front. You stated that they didn't have a party, and you invited them in. The invitation was somehow rattled the Patriotic Front. Just explain the thought and spirit behind that invitation.
Thank you, Ambassador. I think I've always been a realist myself, and when it comes to planning on being strategic, the approach we must take as Zambians must always be one of being inclusive. If anybody has followed the politics of the Patriotic Front, they will understand that currently there are about 8 to 9 cases pending in the high courts, different high courts of Zambia. And there are cases where Mao Sampa is being sued by the 9 or 8 candidates that had filed nominations earlier, trying to declare his convention null and void. There's the case where the then Secretary General, Raphael Nakachina, sued the Attorney General, and the Registrar of Societies also claiming the illegality of convention that Mao Sampa had. Then at the same time, we've got Secretary General with the Chavinga faction, Ngona, suing Mao Sampa, where he has an injunction. Then there's the Kabwe High Court case, which is a recent case where, again, Ngona and Robert Chavinga have sued the faction of Given Lubinda, stopping them basically from running the secretariat, using party regalia and any paraphernalia of the party, and all other cases which I may not remember offhand. The point being made is the Patriotic Front is in a limbo. One of the things that we always did when we were in the Patriotic Front is that we always had a legal team and we always had a security team which had to inform the president of pending cases or imminent cases. In this particular case, I see no one from the Patriotic Front leadership taking the lead to try and fight these cases, harmonize the party, and bring the Patriotic Front to some semblance of organization. In other words, right now the Patriotic Front is suffering from disorganization. Now this is unfair and very sad, because the Patriotic Front, according to us in the Tonse, is one of our serious members in Tonse. We want it organized, and we want the Patriotic Front realigned. When you've got, again, indulge me here, Ambassador, when you've got the former Secretary General of the Patriotic Front, excuse me, Mr. Honorable Davis Mwila, endorsing one of the candidates, in this case Brian Mundu, the Honorable, and then you've got the immediate past Deputy Secretary General of the Patriotic Front again, my sister, Honorable Apiri, rather, endorsing my young brother, Makebi Zulu, Honorable. You begin to see that there's no cohesion. In other words, I don't see anybody who understood the mind of the late president. This was a secretariat, Secretary General, Deputy Secretary General. They endorsed different candidates. There must have been discussions with the late president. If not, they must have known the mind of the late president. Why is it that they're endorsing different people? What are these different interests that we are seeing? It's worrying for some of us. Then you've got, obviously, people like my brother, Grayford Monde, my brother Mtoto Kafwaya, Honorable, and obviously Honorable Brian Munduvire, coming also from the flanks and also trying to get the leadership of the PF. For us, we see confusion because there does not seem to have any direction being given. Worse still, most of the PF leaders have been either thrown in jail, they've been given cases, they are pending court cases, or there will be pending cases against them. We see all this as something which the UPND government has orchestrated to such a point that if it is not taken care of, the Patriotic Front will not get out of its mud. The case that I refer to, in this particular instance, the Kabwe case, where there's an injunction, it's a case which the PF must have looked at strategically and handled quickly. But I don't see any movement there. Let me try and explain legally. If you look at the calendar today, we are heading to December. The interim injunction that was obtained by the Secretary General of the faction of Chabinga, Honorable Ngwana, says that there should be no convention for the PF. The PF must not use the Secretariat. The PF must not use the party regalia or whatever paraphernalia they use, letterheads, etc. Today, we've got the police guarding the Secretariat of the PF. No movement has been seen, at least from where I sit, trying to fight that case. What this does is the PF has been boxed into a corner by this injunction because practically, this time of the season, legal season, when they go to court for the return date of the 3rd of December, what will happen from experience is that the judge will hear the arguments from both sides over the injunction. He may reserve his ruling. Please follow me. Once that ruling is reserved, by the 12th of December, if not by the 19th, most law firms, including the High Court, will go on Christmas break. That means that this matter, the ruling can only come next year. Now, this is just dealing with the injunction. Once the injunction is resolved and the judge rules, the main matter has to take place. Now, anybody who has any legal experience, any judge today giving you an adjournment we are talking about April, May, if at the worst June. That's where the diaries for the judges are. June 2026, April, May 2026. What time will the PF have to clear their problems, their cobwebs, their internal wranglings, and hold a convention? Some of us who are talking to the late president, Edgar Chagwalungu, if anybody understood his spirit, his understanding after last year's December ruling of the 10th of December 2024, when he was blocked from standing, the late president came to the realization he was not going to be on the ballot, at least that he told me. He also told me he didn't see the Patriotic Front being on the ballot because of the machinations of this Chavinga faction. Now, there's a problem there. Because of this, it means for the Patriotic Front that in the Tonse, we'll have to find a purpose vehicle on which to ride. And I am giving this as advice. We in the in the Tonse Alliance have said to the PF, please, my brothers, resolve your differences. Do not let your differences spill over into Tonse, because that's going to give us problems. Now, with all these legal machinations which I've explained going on, the Patriotic Front is likely to be in court up to June, July next year, with the so many cases which are pending. Now, you and I know that the article which you referred to, Article 60 of the Zambian Constitution, demands that before any general election, every political party must hold a convention. Will there be enough time for the PF to hold a convention if they resolve their matters around June, July next year? My assessment, politically and otherwise, is no. Therefore, it is always incumbent to face reality and simply say, we are in the doldrums. Let's go and find shelter. And this is the olive branch which Zambia Must Prosper extended to the Patriotic Front to say, my brothers, I know you're out in the cold, I know you're out in the rain, and you're out in the sunshine. It's terrible. But Mwivawa Navanshiwa yo, you know us, we've worked together before, just move so that we can come and resolve all these things next year. After all, we've only got one adversary to fight, the UPND. So all these machinations, my brothers are spending so much time, so much resources, traversing the country. You see Honorable Lubinda going this side. You see my young brother Makebi going the other side. Mundubile is on the other side. Monde is on the other side. Mutoto Kafwa on the other side. You're spending resources, time, effort, logistics, which you could mobilize and move into a certain direction so that the Zambians and the ordinary PF members can be given leadership, which means they are going to now have direction. This is the cry of the Zambian people. So Zambia Must Prosper is only answering the cry of the Zambian people. The cry is unity. The cry is to have a special purpose vehicle. The cry is to have leadership. And the cry is to have a message which the Zambian people are going to move in. The other angle for this perspective, the ambassador, is
Mkwai, Honorable KBF, before you go any further, the Patriotic Front has held the position that the attempt to steal the Patriotic Front by President Hakainde Hichilema is an affront to democracy, is an affront to multi-party character of our country, and that there should be pressure exerted on President Hakainde Hichilema to get hold of that chokehold he has on the neck of the Patriotic Front, because he has used and abused the registrar of societies. He has used parliament, where the leadership from the party were removed. Brian Mundwil as leader of the opposition in parliament, Stephen Kampyongo as chief whip, Anton Kasandwe as deputy. Now they've even moved to the Electoral Commission of Zambia, where the PF has been banned from participating in elections because they've said only the president and secretary general must sign on that. Won't we abandon the fight for democracy if we decamped, if the PF decamped and went to a special purpose vehicle? Isn't pressure supposed to mount extremely high, especially with the short calendar remaining? I know you said you're a realist, but I thought I could throw in that dose.
Grateful, Ambassador, that you brought that angle. You see, you must always, as a strategic planner in terms of elections, in terms of political advancement, you must always understand your adversary before you plan. And this is what I'm going to say. Hakainde Hichilema and his UPND government will never, ever release that chokehold which you mentioned off the PF's neck. They won't. That's the realistic position we must adopt. And I don't mean it in a bad way. I just mean it in a way of trying to change the direction that PF must take. The democratic dispensation that you discuss, we shall bring it back when we come back to normalcy. But right now, if the Patriotic Front keeps fighting this fight in the manner that they're fighting, trust me, there will not be any democratic dispensation with the Patriotic Front on the ballot. Because Hakainde Hichilema has been singing this song. Remember, I worked with him, so I know his thinking. One of the things he kept saying is, this party arrested me 15 times. This party almost killed me. This party, the venom that he talks against other people, it is him who has hatred and venom in his heart. Hakainde is a very dangerous, venomous person when it comes to revenge. And that's what he's doing to the he's revenging for whatever the Patriotic Front did when he was in the opposition. This cry that people hate me and trying to pretend to be a victim is just a cover-up. Hakainde is the one who is perpetuating hatred. I know him. So what you've said is correct, and I agree. The problem we have is knowing him and knowing the kind of person he's using now, Chavinga, Robert Chavinga. They are in a pact already. They will not release the Patriotic Front. Now, you can argue, and I think many people will agree with me, that yes, Chavinga has only got papers. But you see, as a lawyer, we must be realistic. There's a de jure position and a de facto position. De facto, we all know Chavinga is not the president of Patriotic Front. But de jure, by law, he is the one the Registrar of Societies recognizes. He is the one that Womwangala Zalomis will recognize signing nomination forms at the Electoral Commission. And so the courts recognize him as the Patriotic Front president. We don't agree. It hurts me. But Mwamba, you know how we worked to build the Patriotic Front. You and I go back with Vasata all those years and coming up with ECL. We know the history of the Patriotic Front. But the truth is, he's dribbled them. He has dribbled them. And I feel sorry, and it pains me. So when I speak, it's advisory. Let's face reality. We can't allow Chavinga and the UPND to kill the Patriotic Front. But going this direction, I am sorry, it will not take us anywhere. So it's best we face reality. And the reality is, my brothers in the Patriotic Front must come to the table, come to the party, sit with us, and start planning the general elections together. Because if we don't, I'm sorry. Also, you may want to know, Ambassador, and the viewers, especially those in the diaspora, they may want to know that there is also a list of people with amongst the leaders, current leaders, who are likely to again be imprisoned. The UPND makes no apologies about this. When you heard the president talking yesterday about how he's going to enforce the law and things, he means it. Now, the tools of the instruments of power are with him. And whether you've got a genuine case or you don't have a genuine case, they'll throw you in just to silence you, just to cripple, just to have that strong chokehold that you're mentioning. And this is very sad for our democracy. But we must be strategic and we must think outside the box. When you're boxed into a corner on a chessboard, you must know how to protect your king. And sometimes you pick the fights that you can win. But if you just want to be stubborn and keep hitting against the wall, well, good luck to the PF. But for me, that's my advice. My brothers in PF know me. We've worked together. The membership of the PF know me. I run the elections in the PF. I've worked under Basata. I've worked under Walungu. You were ambassador, know me. We've worked together. So you understand where I'm coming from. It's decrying this pain, this destruction of this big party that we can't just let go. But we can only win if we change gears and say, this problem we shall solve later. But for now, we have an election to fight. And let's start planning for that election. Because if we keep going in these courts, we keep running around in the courtrooms today, I am sorry, the PF will not go anywhere. But I also speak to my friends in the Tonse Alliance. We should all galvanize and we should all preach unity, because this is the only way that we're going to defeat the UPND. The late President Edgar Lungu, came to this realization belatedly, but it was a conversation we held. I think he was very honest, he was brutally frank, and he said, this won't happen, this won't happen. The only way we're going to go is this way. And we accepted, and we started building towards that. So it is not that we are not sympathetic. In fact, the new formula I am proposing, you remember Ambassador Mwamba, previously we used to have a lot of malls in the PF. We used to call it watermelon. They used to be green outside, but when you cut the watermelon, they used to be red inside. I am proposing to my brothers in the PF, now we've got the mango formula. You're green outside, but in Gawaile Pula mango, it's yellow inside. So just come into Zambia Must Prosper, because we are yellow inside.
Yellow as in Zambia Must Prosper, because I know that's your official color. Yeah, thank you very much. You mentioned something, and this is what the country is discussing, and thank you for your advice to the Patriotic Front, and I hope that they can take it very seriously. I personally wanted that clarification done. The president's press conference yesterday, I will invite your comments about it, but they've rattled the country. He started a process, Bill 7, that was clearly rejected by our people. He bulldozed it, took it to Parliament, but lucky enough, there was a petition in the Constitutional Court by Celestine Mkandila and former Lumezi MP Munir Zulu. And the Constitution Court gave a damning judgment, literally telling the president that he had broken so many articles of the Constitution in his attempt to amend the Constitution. And they gave minimum guidelines of what needed to be done. The president has just picked a technical committee, the proposal for a technical committee, without other issues, and gave it just 3 weeks to do gathering of views and establish a draft constitution. Probably that should go to Parliament by 5th December. Yesterday, the president was very surprised at the church Oasis Forum, and especially led by the Archbishop of Kasama, of Archdiocese of Kasama, who issued a very strong statement urging all Zambians to support the process, against Bill 7, to march with the Oasis Forum against Bill 7, and to stand, with Oasis Forum and with the people of Zambia. That unsettled the president, and there have been so many statements after Archbishop Ignatius Chama of Kasama Archdiocese issued that statement. Yesterday at the press conference, the president's remarks that have raised concern and which I'm inviting you for your comment, and I'll play his video just now, is that he says you just hate him. All of you are criticizing, just hate him. And you hate where he was born. Literally, this is not the first time he has said this. When he was receiving, before he set up the technical committee, he received Isaac Mwanza and other, friendly NGOs. He repeated these assertions. He says, why are you stopping me from having constitutional amendments? The issue of an election year is an excuse that is only applying to me. You people just hate me. You hate where I was born. So let me play that video, and then I invite your comment over these unfortunate remarks.
Then they say, no, we are not allowing HH and UPND to amend the constitution. The question is why? Because there are lacunas in there. Is it the first government to amend the constitution? No. Who else amended the constitution? In this manner, UNIP government. UNIP government. Muzungu is here. Bakurumpe. He was there. Institutional memory. UNIP amended the constitution. The argument is that why you amend the constitution now? So when is the right time? What does the constitution say? It's silent. UNIP amended the constitution in 1991. Limbina Mulava. In the election year. 1991, in the election year. People celebrated. 1996, MMD under President Chiluba, Aka Red Naka Black. May his soul rest in peace. Right? Yes, that man did a lot of things to turn the country from a wrong direction, in my view. I don't want to debate this. May his soul rest in peace. We don't appreciate a lot of things he did to move us downhill into a positive trajectory. 1996, the MMD and the FDJ amended the constitution in the election year. There was no problem, no street fights. Same organizations didn't go in the streets. By Kalafi Fidia Tondolo, and the constitution is being amended. No street fights. 2016, under PF, the constitution was amended. Right? Election year. In January, the election was in August. They amended the constitution. No one went in the streets. We were aggrieved as UPND. And I told my members, no one goes in the streets. Let's vote in parliament. We voted and lost in parliament. I never allowed our members to go in the streets. UPND, this man they don't like, for whatever reason. Right? This level of hatred is shocking. Right? You can see that there's venom here. You can even touch it. There's venom here. We go to amend the constitution using the same law, using the same constitution, which was applied, clauses which were used before. It says, no, we don't want. The timing is wrong. But what about those other timings when it was amended? What was right? Why didn't you go in the streets? Ask yourselves a question. So you want to start conflict over nothing. Fellow citizens, let us act godly. After all, we are a Christian nation. Let us act in a godly manner. Let us not overexpose our hatred of others for crimes some of us did not commit. I know. I've come a long way myself. I know the feelings of a certain section of the people. I didn't choose where to be born. Neither did you. None of us should serve a sentence for a crime they did not commit. In 2021, one priest issued a statement. Chawamanga twachita regi election. kuchila kuti abawambita tulefaya bakateke, encouraging the government then to rig the election so that UPND and this president does not come into office. It's there. And this thing starts all over again. This is not fair. This is not correct. The evidential information is there. Chiriabushiku. Lupato.
Honorable KBF, the man says your criticism amounts to tribal, is just hate. You are discriminating against him and where he was born. He's literally saying all the critics, the church, the bishops, Oasis Forum, and critics like all of us in the opposition just hate him. Literally insinuating that we hate him as an individual, where he was born, and his entire tribe. If he said something like that from the opposition, probably he would have been arrested today. But he's president. I don't know what you make of these unfortunate remarks. And also, he seems to need some education on the constitutional making process. He showed a lot of ignorance there, but it's your show.
Thank you, Ambassador. Let me start off with a few observations. First of all, it is true that UNIP made a constitutional amendment in 1991, leading up to the elections. But the UNIP amendment was one article. It was Article 4, which was removed from the Constitution. Because under Article 4 at that time, that is what entrenched UNIP as the sole party under a one-party participatory democracy. So that is what the Kaunda government repealed and allowed for a democratic process. Second of all, still on observations, the elections were not due until 1993. Magnanimously, the late President Kaunda called for early elections. So those facts, the president must understand. Maybe he's suffering from short-term memory, but some of us understand legal jurisprudence. So we know the elections were due in 1993, but Kaunda called the elections in 1991 because he didn't want confusion. He wanted peace. And he was very sure he was going to win the elections. Those two observations I make. So it wasn't 10 articles, 13 articles. No, it was one. And this was an agreed position by members in parliament and the ruling party at the time. So there was no fight. In 1996, again, this process, you must understand, and ask the president, some of you who may remember, when did the process for the amendment of this constitution begin? It began in late 1991 because the Chiluba government wanted to make sure that certain things were changed in the constitution. The process was being finished by 1996. That's how long it took for that commission to go around to get the views of the people. So it wasn't like a snapshot. No. Equally, for the 2016 amendment, the process had begun before Wasata died. And this is what was being put, what being called as being put on the shelf. It was only processed quickly in 2016, and that's when the late President Edgar Lungu signed it. So the process had begun. There was a commission as well, a legitimate commission to look into the changes that were due. So it is not in the manner that he and the UPND government have proposed it. I wanted to make those observations because the facts must be put correctly. And the president must not mislead the Zambians. We will not be misled. We are here, we've got the institutional memory, we understand. So don't tell us stories, the president. You lied. Now, this particular amendment, or these proposed amendments that the UPND have proposed, he comes up with words like Nemulanda. This is just hatred. There's so much venom, you can almost feel it. A question of anything but where I was born. Boy, No, stop lying. Me, I'm your friend. And you know it. I have never professed tribalism. That you know. Let's be real. And don't bring in this hatred. And Ambassador is correct. If it was another person talking the way you are talking, ordinarily, the seditious act would have visited him now. You are bringing tribalism yourself. Stop it. We don't want this. This kind of talking, especially coming from a president, is wrong. What do you want to portray here? Who hates you? We hate what you do. We don't hate you as a people. We don't hate you as an individual. No. I've got a lot of Tonga friends myself. Huh? The Attorney General of this country was my classmate. And he still remains my classmate. I danced at his wedding. I was one of his best men. You are my friend. When you asked for my help in the last elections in 2021, I came willingly to help you. If I hated you, you think I was going to help? I was going to help you? Will I be powerful? That's the problem. It is wrong. Tauri mulanda. You don't even understand the words you're using. Mulanda monika fiole monika you. Huh? The issue here is one, institution you've decided to use for the amendment. Second, the manner in which you, as the executive, have adopted which articles must be amended. That's wrong. So the whole thing is about the legitimacy of the process and indeed the outcome. So don't confuse Zambians and try to play victim. You're not a victim. In this case, you are the aggressor. You are injuring the nation. And I'll call you out for what you are. In this case, now Lufianya. Now, when Zambians call you out, when Zambians go wrong a wrong, it doesn't mean they hate you. They're trying to correct you. They're trying to put you back in the right direction. These same church organizations that you are condemning, you are the one who was praising them the last time they were marching against Bill 10 under that same umbrella of the Oasis Forum. You yourself, Chiwamina Galu, Kuluma Mbuzi, but when it flips and then reality comes to dawn on you, you want to flip the coin and become a victim. You're not a victim. Well, and when we tell you in the strongest terms. We're just correcting you. Who tells you that the president cannot be corrected? You think because you're a president you're infallible. You think because you're a president you can't be corrected. You think because you're the president you've got the monopoly of wisdom. Who the hell told you that? You're not a victim. It is the process and the manner in which you have started this process. The legitimacy of the process is wrong. Okay? All these amendments you've talked about here, the presidents used the correct procedure. Kaunda, correct procedure. Chiluba, correct procedure. Andasata and ECL, correct procedure. That is how the amendments came through. Commissions were set up. This technical committee you set up, is not legit, especially for the kind of undertakings you want to take. Vamba, meet me. I have here the actual bill, and I hope the Zambians can see it. This is Bill 7. Okay? What are the intentions of Bill 7? When you read this bill, the objects of the bill, for instance, A, to revise the composition of the National Assembly to provide for the increase in the number of constituency-based seats from 156 to 211 to actualize the delimitation report by the Electoral Commission. Have you released the Electoral Commission delimitation report to attach to this bill so that people can see what you actually intend as a government to delimitate? Have you done that? So we haven't seen the delimitation report. How do you want us to support this? How do you want us to support this? Where are the constituencies which are being delimited? How do we know which constituencies? Number 2, B, revise the electoral system for election to the National Assembly to provide for a mixed member proportional representation electoral system to guarantee representation of women, youths, and persons with disabilities. Who told you that this is democracy? Who told you this is democracy? What if we don't find the 20 women you want to appoint? You're going to force them to go to parliament? If we don't find the youths who want to go to parliament, you're going to force them? What if we don't find the disabled people? You'll be hunting for them until you find the numbers and force them to go to parliament? When you bring up such issues, it raises suspicion because the Zambians now want to see what is the meaning. And I pick too, because I just want to give an example ill thought through this thing has been on your part. But also, your government, the UPND government, has been running on supplementary budgets that you know. Almost each year, the Minister of Finance runs on supplementary budgets. You have been claiming to have employed 30,000 health workers or teachers, whichever the case. Some of these kids, the teachers, the nurses, the doctors, they are working for 1 year or 2 years as interns without being. And you want to increase the jobs of politicians to 211 from 156. What is your budget line? Let's be serious. Now, what is your budget line? You want to be paying politicians. You don't want to be paying technocrats who are giving a good service for the people. Whenever you want to change something and you want to cure a mischief, provide a reason. For instance, what is it that the 156 members of parliament have failed to do, which will require 211 members of parliament? What's the mischief here? What are you trying to cure? What is the budget line of the members of parliament? Let's think economically. You're an economist. So let's think economically. How much money do MPs get? And how much gratuity do they get, mid-term gratuity or final gratuity at the end of their term? All this is going to impact on our economy. Our poor resources must not be going to pay politicians just because you want votes. It is wrong. So when we oppose this, it is not because we hate you. It is the warped thinking that is involved in this thing that we are condemning. And you as an individual, it is your thinking. And don't bring in the element of tribe. Like I've said, we've got Tonga friends. People have married across boards. Easterners have got marriages with the Tonga women. Tonga women have been married to Bemba men, to Kaonde men. What brings this tribalism? Why? And it is unfortunate that it is coming out of your mouth as the president. What do you want to do to this country? I repeat, you are not a victim, Hakainde Hichilema. Don't even bemoan the situation. No, you are not a victim. If you muchiremba ifira tutira mali buyako ilombela. Waila pwilo mulio pamakamba ukupia, then you start crying that people need pia. Now yocha. It's not our fault.
Mali buyako ilombela indeed. He says, for the purposes of distribution of CDF, we need to do the delimitation process. And then he made another tribal remark. He says over the years, his area has been disenfranchised by the number of constituencies. But a casual look at the number of constituencies is that you see that Muchinga has the lowest 10, then Luapula and Central Province have 15. Southern Province has 18 constituencies. Of course, Copperbelt is the highest with 22, followed by Eastern Province 21 and Western Province, I think, 19. Southern Province is 18. There, he also says, the province was being discriminated against. And I'm glad that you've put that in context. There was another matter. He says the economy is doing very well, that it's on a trajectory, that he has resolved the issue of debt that is now posting economic growth of up to 6%. He's resolved the crisis in the mines in Mopani, KCM, and new mines have been reopened. He puts a case why he should be re-elected. Yet he seems to live in an alternative reality. I don't know how you pick this. Let me pick your mind on this matter of this so-called economic success that he has scored. He says he has a bumper harvest. The downturn is only load shedding, and he says he's resolving that load shedding. That hasn't gone away the last 2.5 years. But what do you make of that claim that the economy is on a path to recovery?
The economy is not recovering, the ambassador. And I'm sorry to report to my fellow Zambians that unfortunately, under Hakainde Hichilema, we are headed for doom. Why do I say this? Our president, unfortunately, practices economics from a very theoretical angle. Some of us who live in the real world look at the breadbasket. Now, I understand that the economists will say no GDP, they will say this and all these fancy words and stuff. The final product per table, wali. What is the price of mini meal? What is the price of cooking oil? Essentials for a family to run a home. What is the price of fuel? What is the price or the tariffs on the electricity which run the economy? That is how you measure an economy. It doesn't matter the numbers that he's going to post. Hakainde Hichilema, I think, is in a dream world. And Zambians, we should not listen to these lies anymore. We've listened to these lies before. We know what Hakainde Hichilema is trying to do. Let me give you an example of Ambassador. Northwestern Province has opened up a few mines. Those mines, most of them were opened under PF, not under UPND. But here's the catch. Most of what the investors have been using are our minerals. They go and prepare bankable documents after geological surveys. They get those bankable documents and then they go and float on the stock exchange either in Canada, in New York, or London. And they get investment to come in. Why is it that we can't use ZCCM-IH to produce bankable documents after geological reports are done? We use ZCCM-IH as what we term as venture capitalists to go and prepare those bankable documents so that the money remains here. There's nothing technical which Zambians cannot do. We've got geologists here. We've got mining engineers, mining metallurgists. They can do that. So for me, Hakainde Hichilema has got a deal with some of these investors. Maybe he borrowed money when he was in the opposition, so he's giving them some tax holidays. Maybe he wants to make them happy because of whatever private arrangements he has with his friends. This is not how you run a country. So when he says the economy is on the upswing, let me give you another example. I'm still in North. The Mwinilunga Cannery, which again was a PF project. Today, information reaching us is running at between 5 to 10. Why? Because the machines are not being used to the maximum. There's no real investment in terms of agricultural produce because the produce must be agricultural and then given to the factory. What the machines are doing now are just crushing our pineapples and selling the juice to Congo, where they make a drink called anana, which is basically pineapple juice for drink. They are also crushing tomato paste using that equipment. But at the end of the day, that equipment was not meant to be doing those funny things. It was meant to do a lot of things which it is not doing today. Why? One, management. Investment. The outgrower schemes for the grow the pineapples. They're not paid. When they supply the pineapples, they're not being paid. Equally, we extrapolate that thinking and go to the maize, which is our staple food. When people produce maize, the farmers this year produced June, July, they started selling FRA, sometimes being forced to sell to FRA. That again, up to date, they haven't been paid. This is the way his government has been running. It lives on borrowed money. They don't have the capacity to pay our farmers. So what does he talk about an economy which is on the turnaround? This economy is only turning around for Hakainde's friends, for the UPND friends and his ministers. People like Kabuswe, Chipoka Mulenga, and all those guys, Matambos on the Copper Belt, who have taken the Black Mountains from the kids. These are the means doing. Nobody else. And we should call them out for who they are. But is he firing them? No. It's corruption every day. It's corruption every day. We have the facts and the figures about how corrupt this government has been. At FRA, we have information. This new CEO who has been employed, we know how he was employed. We know which officials have helped that guy get that job. We know how Cabinet Office got involved in trying to get this guy a job. We know how the board of Suresh Desai is failing the small-scale farmers. 98% food security, Ambassador, you may want to know, comes from our small-scale farmers who are not being paid. If they are being paid, they're being paid. What does that mean? Right now, the rainy season is upon us. The farmers needed to buy the seed, to buy the fertilizer, to start plowing. They till the land now. Why? Because they haven't been paid. They can't buy the seeds. They can't buy the fertilizer. They haven't been paid by this same government, which is on the turnaround. Where is the money in the Ichilema to pay the farmers? Why haven't you paid the farmers if your economy is turning around? Why haven't you been paying the interns, the doctors, the interns, the teachers, those you claim you have employed? Kids cannot be working for 1 year, 2 years without a salary. But he's a qualified nurse, qualified teacher. Where is it written that simply because you're an intern, you mustn't be paid? How do they transport themselves? When a parent educates a child, he expects the child to be independent. You don't educate a child and the child keeps coming to your home to ask for money for food. Then what's this education all about? It's not making sense. So I'm sorry to disagree, on a serious note, to disagree with the president that the economy in the Ichilema is talking about is only in his head and it's not working practically on the Zambians. You may also want to know that from the agricultural perspective, what do I mean? To get land these days, whether you use it for mining, for farming, for whatever industrial use, you need Zema approval. These days, when Zema has to get involved, the Zema inspectors will tell you, the Zema supervisors, they'll tell you we don't have transport, we don't have fuel. So pay them for them to come and do a feasibility study and then give you a report before you can start using the land. All these are delays. What's more, this infrastructure development that we're talking about in this country is a total failure. We've seen this before with the MMD. We've seen in the RB era. Now they are under panic. They want to do roads quickly. Now the rains are upon us again. You're building roads in the rainy season. How are you going to do this? Because now the contractors will just be sleeping on site. When it starts raining, they can't work. I recently came from Kitwe, the convention you referred to, Ambassador. There's so much equipment lying idle. The pace at which these guys are working, this road will finish in 2052. We must, the UPND, we are in a hurry to develop this country. We want to finish these roads, especially this road, the Lusaka and Dola Dual Carriage Road, because this is where the maximum traffic around the SADC region passes. And we need to move our goods and services, our drugs, our stuff, to our people in the various and to the various countries, our 8 neighbors around us. So which economy did Hakainde Hichilema improve in the last 2 years? He must give us specifics and urge him to do so. Don't gloss over issues. Be specific. Which industry? Because Aliko Angote Dangote sat in front of our president. And he was saying to him, without electricity, nothing works. Without energy, nothing works. You go and give your friend Suresh Patel from Agrofuels, Sashi Patel, from Agrofuels, to start importing, to be the main importer using the Tazama pipeline of diesel. I was chairman of the Competition Commission of this country for 8 years. Such monopoly is dangerous for the security of this country. So if this guy fails to produce the diesel, we're going to have a country standing still because one guy is going to hold the nation to ransom. You need competition in that area. Has Hakainde addressed that? No, he hasn't. Tazama and Indeni are related. We need to increase the size of the pipeline. We need to start re-importing commingled products so that that refinery in Ndola begins to produce the products which it's supposed to produce, not just one product. Let's go back to basics. Why did we build the refinery? It's actually a separator. It can give us diesel, petrol, jet air fuel, and it gives us Vaseline, bitumen. I mean, all these things can be done. But this whole thing is about the UPND giving jobs to the boys, giving jobs to friends, giving jobs to family members, giving jobs to people from a certain region, and just, come on. We can't continue at this rate. In fact, I would dare say that in my humble view, it is the president who should be accused of tribalism, not the other way around. No, even on the economic front, people have been fired from parastatals, not for having done anything, but because they come from certain areas. In the police force, in the civil service, it's the same. How can we have such a president? And then he wants to come and cry to be a victim. No one hates you, Hakainde Hichilema. No, you've brought this upon yourself. The economy is not working. Stop lying to the Zambians. And right now, you're in a desperate situation because now you understand. Time is up. And if we go back to whatever you promised the Zambians, in football they say VAR. We have double-checked all your facts. Nothing has worked for you. Why? Because you've been wasting time trying to imprison people, harass people, give people seditious this, seditious that, all manner of crimes. This is not how we function as a government. You have become too personal over certain people, and you have become too personal over certain political parties. Stop it.
Yeah, in fact, I've asked to get an oil expert to come and discuss both the oil and energy expert, because I noticed that she referred to agro-fuel. I think around May, government decided to hire, on a government-to-government arrangement, Abu Dhabi National Oil Company that is probably will be cheaper if we are buying directly. So there's a company called ADNOC, which is Abu Dhabi National Oil Company, and which is a state-owned oil company. Since we contracted it, I don't know what logistical nightmare they are facing. And now we have this serious diesel shortage every time. And you saw the IMF report that are still called for. Remember, the IMF called for the open access of Tazama to work and to work competitively for everyone. So, Indeni and Tazama then picked ADNOC of UAE, especially in the government-to-government arrangements. Now this is where we even have a bigger crisis, and we are facing intermittent shortage of especially diesel in our country. But we'll get an energy expert to come and tell us all this, even including the load shedding. Ladies and gentlemen, we are hosting KBF, famously known as KBF, President of Zambia Must Prosper Party. He's just been elected with his Vice President, Honorable Katolo, and a management committee. I like it. They call it National Crusade. You know, in Christian term, a crusade is a relentless campaign to get those souls from the clutches of the evil one. So he has a national crusade team that was elected with him, and he's given an invitation to the Patriotic Front. Maybe they can consider it. Maybe they can invite him to fight the battles they have with President Hakainde Hichilema on the matter. But We are opening phone lines. You can ask Honorable KBF any question that you may have. We are hosting him. Please share the broadcast. Share it everywhere as we prepare to next year's elections.
I go to Chingola to Impala, people are throwing stones, attacking a sitting head of state, the same guy they were attacking in opposition. That day, I had to shout. I saw one policeman raising a gun to shoot at a guy who was throwing stones at me. I shouted, you follow the videos, you hear my shouting. If I did not shout, there could have been 30 body bags there. There could have been dead people there. Other presidents would have basically allowed people to have been killed there. Because you try and do that to a head of state, you are killed. You are shot to be killed, not to be injured. I said, no, I will not have blood on my hands. As I stopped the UPNB members to revenge, to attack those who were beating them, those who were killing them.
Natumfuane mkwai. Luis Kuriamabwe. Natumfuane mkwai. Luis Kuriamabwe.
The phone lines are open. We are hosting Honorable KBF Kelvin Wadiafube, who is president of the Zambia Must Prosper. If you have any views, this is a time to ask him about the matters we are discussing. I have the first caller, Honorable KBF. Let me take this caller. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Good evening, Ambassador. This is Kefas Mwapemsonda calling you from Kabwe Central Province.
Thank you, Kefas. I'm
an advocate for industrialization and national development. I'll begin by registering my displeasure and my disappointment over the remarks that His Excellency the President made yesterday. I want to remind the President that if Zambians hate him, the 1 million difference in 2021 during my elections, he wouldn't have had those results. Number two, I want to remind him that he's not the first one to hold this important position from the southern region. I'll give an example of Mainza Chona, a person that was once president for the United Party for UNIP, and later on gave back that instrument of power to Dr. Kenneth Kaunda, but eventually became the vice president of this country and secretary general of UNIP. He also got involved, in case the president has forgotten, that he was one of the lawyers that fought the third term bid that Dr. Chiruba and the MMD wanted to bring in. Mainza Chona fought it under the Oasis Forum. The same Oasis Forum that helped him in 2021 to bring down Bill 10. So it pains some of us, because when we see and hear such words coming from a father of the nation, it's very regrettable and something that we desire as a people to receive an apology from you, Mr. President. True to the words of KBF, if these words were coming from an opposition leader, by now the police could have been on the doorstep and such a one could have been appearing in courts tomorrow. But since they are coming from you who is holding the immunity, Mr. President, no one hates you. You were there when you made sure that NCC did not go through in 2011 under MMD. You have been there when you made sure that bill number 10 never went through in PF. So why are we crying over the process that even yourselves have participated before? When Oasis Forum supported the agenda that you had brought in 2021, it was all okay. The church was fine. Today, we have a RATSA CEO categorically coming out and making remarks that are so disturbing. Tribal remarks. Is still holding on to that position. Yesterday, Mr. President, as you were addressing and telling us that Kadarism is not something that someone should hide behind the party, church issues and all, your cadres were beating up people in the Copper Belt. So all these issues, Mr. President, people of Zambia have given you the mantle to rule and supersede over this nation for 5 years. Within these 5 years, Mr. President, all we are saying is unite this country under the motto One Zambia, One Nation. But atabake BF of Mwalanda pali PF Chishinka. PF ba Mwambanga Mwalatu walila Sokobat convention. Believe me, PF will never be on the ballot next year. And this is what I told one of the Central Committee members. 3 years ago, I told them, ababa maosampe chibamba bamaosampe balawo naole chichipani bamaosampa bali bwera ku PF mwali bapokerera lero bamaosampa tababwesha echipani kintu basendere ukufumia opochali ukutwala kuntu bachitwere bali chishafe fiyafini awe bane basata mu manda imwe tabakamyerere iyo. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, dear callers. Let's get the questions that you wish to ask. The phone lines are open and you can ask Zambia Must Prosper President any questions and you'll be willing to, is here on standby to answer. I see a lot of missed calls. It could be network, but keep on trying. We are here to receive your calls so that we can throw them to Honorable KBF.
At this point in time, as I've said already, I have not come across a single man in politics who is today thinking of spreading Zambia. Apart from this is my aid man in Zimbabwe, this is the southern province. He tried to do that, I think, but he didn't succeed.
Okay, so we...
No, I think he will finish it at all.
Okay.
This is my southern province.
So done.
What is he? The man is running his party.
Which one?
Magande? No. Oh, no.
He comes from Southern Province.
Southern Province, yes. This man who is.
Hakainde Hichilema.
Akainde.
Mhm.
Akainde.
Hakainde Hichilema.
Hichilema.
Mhm.
The one-
Hakainde Hichilema.
Who running this?
UPND.
You paid just like.
Mhm.
Apart from that, there is no other leader I can fear to run this country. All these others who are running parties, I can't see any one of them.
Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Good afternoon, Ambassador Mwamba. This is Nyangwe Danny calling you from Canada.
Sinyangwe, Dan, please make your contributions or questions to KBF.
Thank you. KBF, in any quarter of your question, here really. Number one, KBF, in your own words, what can you say about the press conference of a president of Guatemala? Was it him installing fear in you people, or there was something behind it? Then second, KBF, in an monarchy, Gamawombela Chapamo, Olo Mwala Wine Inkondo, or to Guatemala current government. Katamwa wombere Chapamo wonse, trust me, KBF abantu bakesa kuli imwe bakamulirira. Imwe mfuile mambo kumana no kuombela chapano, and then put your personal egos away. I know everyone mlefo kuba ama leaders, but ichi ocho tulimo cha muntu fyomo. Can you work together? That is the only thing that I'm asking from you people. Ombele nchapamo. Thank you, Ambassador Mwamba. Lesare mpala wose.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Please call as I want to get a few calls so that Honorable KBF can answer the questions.
Those who rule with evil, those who rule with the intention of destroying and bringing to an end the designs of God, their reign is numbered. Those who plot evil against innocent ones, those who spend day and night wanting to destroy the name of the church, their days are numbered. God has numbered the days of your kingdom and has brought it to an end. Take care. You have been weighed in the balances and found wanting. Evil will always be punished. And so at times we may think we are intelligent, we may think we are strong, but lesa adishvefe wachitapanshita yakwe. Sometimes we do evil to our friends.
That's Father Mpundu Chanda of Christ the King Parish in Kaunda Square. That short video I was playing as a filler. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Thank you.
Yes, Anonymous.
Thank you. Before I appear at KBF, I just have two things. I think our President Vesu is a parasite to lead us to democracy. Looking on what he said yesterday, that's very dangerous. Now, KBF, why is it that the issue dealing and a ruling party, the opposition, every day, on the other side, your friend is pushing the fouls. What is so What is so difficult that you are KBF with the others, you can fail to sit down and resolve the issue? Where are we having the problem? Where are we having the problem? Whether it's PA, where are we having the problem? Because we have less than 6-7 months before maybe the parliament is dissolved in a campaign at Tampa. Are we going in Tanzania where only one person will stand now one to our supporter or what? Where are we wrong? Where have we
go have like a BF. And I think the only that you people, you have failed to negotiate from 2003 up to now. Thank you, Emmanuel.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Hello. Good morning. Good evening, Mwamba.
Good evening.
Yeah, my name is Anonymous, calling you from Lufanyama.
Yes, please go ahead.
Hello.
Please go ahead.
Yeah. Good morning, KBF.
Yes, he can hear you. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Good evening, KBF. Yeah, I'll start by commenting on, Fiakulanda Fingi, been trying to get through to this line number. Most of the time it's engaged. Fiakulanda Fingi. So, first and foremost, I would want to start by commenting on what KBF said, to say PF is not going to be on the ballot, which is very true and so painful. And when you mentioned to say, we just have to make sure PF, yaingia mumma parties and stuff, that is also another painful decision and plan. Chimono kwebati, mwana obena kwa takanza mutunduru, ale pema. Ero basa kweba nombati, uyu mwana, lekenfe tumwipa yafwe, bantu ikansa luere, takapole. So, most of the people, I'm sure they wouldn't want to see PF die. But the problem that PF has is one. This problem did not start today. It started when Sata died. You see? Problem yaba leadership. Another biggest problem which is there is that Chivemba Chanda Tsungom Koshi, Ubulunguta Washupa. But PF, like KPF said, once every mushi ba HH of our HH the muntu wakobati mwebe chintu amfwawe. One, apoka PF, mwaesho kuchitashansha nitalekerako. Ichitumbyali katiro muntu tomfwa. Isize tubapanga electoral commission. Babika kwa abantu babo. Babe imwe umfwe. You can't have a composition like this in the electoral commission. Dawa umfwa. Just tell me one thing, when people come and complain or tapaba. So the biggest problem this time around, everyone is fighting to be a leader, and yet instead of coming together, guys, let's first start by fighting back our party. Leadership. No one is thinking about that. And the other thing that is so painful is that UPND has just taken advantage of Insango Shaba PF. They decampaigned themselves. When Edgar Lungu came into power, they decampaigned him. And today, things are where they are because of them, the same leaders. You talk of the Chimbakamgwili, the GBMs. Now, I can't BF away. You left PF. Why that campaign? No, and actually, all of you people need to apologize to the Zambian people. Because are you even going to blame HH for that? And that thing again for Papenite, you have for Bill 10. Vote for the same thing, same PF people. And we don't hear this UPNG. And today now, as the grassroots, for the pain of the mistakes that you leaders have. The mistakes that you leaders have been making. So you people come together, fight first, put
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, my dear brother. There are so many calls. Let me pick the calls. The calls have now picked up. There are so many calls. Let me just pick the other calls. Thank you very much.
Political environment palindakai. Idio mulepekanya ukwisa tola molu bali muma elections ali no kwisa uyu mwaka uleisa. Bonse mumone okutila mwaleka ba mujine robonse abo bafuide kuchita participate. There must be a fair play. There must be a level playing ground field. Takuli kutwala omulomo muli pate y'abanene mu kipani ky'abanene yo balekeni bayikalire. Tekutwala ekimfulunganya mu kipani ky'abanene kutira nga bafulungana ero n'ombatuka moni okukincha tulefu ya bonse chila chipani chai chila te campaign yabene balanda n'abantu mukumona okutila bawine emyeo yabo mukongola abantu fyafine mumirangire na mufichitwa kuya mukusansa abanenu kuchiranga twabachena nangu bakwatyo omwenso pakutira bekeminina awe natirena mashu ya kutira imwe abantu bakwalesa mukulu bashibantu muleke ukutila kyonse fyefipani kyonse fike minine te kutwale chimfunganya mufipani fyabanenu bayunipi ngako bali bafuire bayiminina kubaleka fye bayunipi bakeminine ba MMG bafuire bayiminina nga ba MMG tekutila we muntu nga wanaka mu MMG watira tiyo MMG twafumyako twaisala twachinjeshina nomba nala join muchipani chimbi chiteka nga wanaka kuyafye weka washaba no byabarefu okukonkanya pona MMG bachashani bakonkanya po pantu MMG tulehikabira unipi tulehikabira ba PF nabo bene nifyo fine tuleba kabira nabo bene nga wanaka mu PF fuma mofye kajoin yo mumwine morefu okuya joina sha PF ishale fye bwino fye ifiri okuba bana ine tulechashani.
Hello caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from. Hello caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Okay, this is Chitavalala from Ndola, calling from Ndola.
Okay. Yes, my brother. Endita.
Watotela mkonkanya mpomulimo. Wake BF nabo wapero mtende. Intanshi shfuete kwa na mashuwa yengi. Mwonesho mulandire fingi sana lofika Ankara. Kumonesho wakateka watu strategy yesterday, it was very embarrassing. We have noticed that he continues to repeat the same story he has been telling the people of Zambia from 2021. Things that have not worked. He's always blaming people and so on and so forth, which is unfortunate. And the tribal remarks that he made was also very unfortunate, coming from the head of state. But it's Sakamike Sanaba Mwamba, Nava KBF. In future, considering the political space, which is shrinking by the day, Bushe wa KBF, what strategic plans has he with his party to ensure that what we have way? Because we're already seeing that the head of state and UPND has no interest in seeing PF on the ballot paper. And they are doing everything within their power to ensure that that does not work. And that is why perhaps we have seen that our former head of state was ACL, or because of political selfish interests exhibited by the ruling party. So we really need to understand Busheni strategy shibakwete eo twala abo shokumonoko kwati ngachako kwati bali bakuteka or bali bakuyimirira bekazi Zambia shall prosper to ensure that bachita overcome the current situation. Because from what I'm seeing from my point of view, situation types in Tanzania ukumanakapi yes Twaranda Kawonsi have been talking about it. But we stand a situation where that we should know kuchetekera. Our mouse and Bawachara and Dapo, they have betrayed the PF before. When our current MP who has been all over working with the PF, they have also failed. We don't even know others within PF who are being used by UPND just to destabilize PF.
Thank you very much, my brother. Thank you very much.
So we need to sit down and look at this situation.
Thank you very much. Let me take another call.
And above all, we want to know the
Hello,
strategy.
hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Hey, Ambassador Mwamba, this is Cecil Mbulela here in Chicago. How are you, sir?
Very well, very well. Thank you, Cecil. I'm hosting Honorable KBF here. What is your question or contribution?
Yeah, good evening, KBF, and nice chatting with you and listening to you. So far, I think for me, based on yesterday's press conference, I would say that I was deeply disappointed because I was expecting it to be centered around economics. All these issues that we're talking about in terms of revising the constitution, all those are old games. Right now, here's an example. Last year, Zambia exported about 7.6 billion US dollars of copper at a price of 10,000 per ton, and we produced about 820,000 metric tons. If you multiply by that, we exported about 7.6 billion US dollars, mainly to China, UAE, and India. The issues we should be talking about are issues of economics. Instead of revising the constitution, we should be talking about revising the tax rates so that we extract maximum revenue on our God-given resources. When that money trickles down into Zambia, things are going to take care of themselves. There are so many countries that don't have constitutions. The UAE is not a democracy. Saudi Arabia is not a democracy. If there's one thing we can learn from our friends from the Chinese, the only two things they copied from the Westerners is capitalism and English. The rest of this stuff, they left it alone. So we need to be focusing on economics. Revising the constitution, fighting over this means nothing. We need to make sure that Zambians, the custodians of the resources, they are taking advantage of that. And I think for me, that's my contribution with KBF. With regards to the politics, I do think that you guys, you should look at what the MMD did with Kaunda. They came together and they chose one candidate to go after Kaunda. And then once that was over, then they went back into their respective politics. As it is currently, there are just too many opposition parties that are going on that are susceptible to be bribed, and therefore this game is not going to end. But my contribution to you by KBF is that with all the other opposition leaders, you guys come together. There's no time. Next year, August is just going to be around here. It's very difficult to unseat an incumbent party because it has all the mechanisms that it has at the machines. So if we come together under one tent, choose a candidate that you should be voting to the people, let the people embrace that candidate, put the resources around that candidate, and let that candidate be the one to be going after the policies of the current presidency. Then by that time, when you come to the August, the people would have bought into that candidate. Currently, as it is, by KBF, you are running your own show. Kalaba is on his own show, but PF are nowhere. So if you ask, who is the leading opposition? There are just so many of you. So my suggestion is look to the playbook from the MMD, come together, choose one person, and start campaigning. Let that person be the one touring the country, talking about these issues. But overall, my only concern for me, and this was a missed opportunity by Hakainde. We are exporting copper in billions because of the price right now and the demand. Why is Zambia not retaining not even $1 billion from those revenue? Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I'll take the last two calls and now go to Honorable KBF. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Hello?
Yes, you are on. Please make your contributions. Tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
President Abbas, President Mwamba, good evening.
Good evening.
I've called you today, President, because you are among the presidents that are aspiring to this country.
We are hosting Honorable KBF. Ask him a question.
Before asking President KBF a question, Mr. Mwamba, I want to tell you that you are an influential person, and I think your words carry more weight than anybody else. So the most important thing here that we are having as a country is that you need to play a bigger role in organizing these other presidents to come together and ensure that we go for one candidate. You know, as for me, there are 4 people that I was actually looking for to lead this country. One of those 4 people is KBF. President KBF, I love you so much. I understand you and I believe in your vision. The second person is Brian Mundubire. Also, Brian Mundubire. Then President John Sangwa, and also our President Given Rubinda. So among these 4 people, I would like one of these. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Ambassador?
Oh, I think we've lost our caller. Let me take the last call, then we ask Honorable KBF to answer. This is our last caller. Hello, last caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from. Hello, caller. Hello, please.
Ambassador, evening.
Good evening. Please tell us your last caller. Give us your contributions.
Thank you so much. Good evening, Kuliba KBF. Mwamba, I do very much agree with what all the callers are suggesting. Ukulingana fye no kutontonkana kandi nena mayo bafuire kwena bayikala pamubonse. Bekale pamubonse basale umuntu obunse bakala wilako. Pantu ichala abapwa apa ukumiyala fye chinga kumiyala fye chinga mukashara fye fifire mukashara fye mulelanda. The rest will be just history. Pantu amapati na ya fula ichine. Na mubesha wa president beso efyo baba nature yabo na muishi babonse ifintu fyalilandikwa ichalo chonse chalishiba. So imwe bonse mwe bakulu bonse mwe bashikulu besu mwe basambirira bale mi taking advantage bale milia mukashara fyefifine tatala Mwamba program yenu hii takuloko mukaitua ala vake DF nga mlengu mfatata wandi tata kolonganeni istayapwa mukashala fyefifine fye mpompolomponto moneni mwenaba bale emilia icho tata muishi bale emilia muilala ndafe muleleta fya maprogram yonse fye muleleta fya fintu fona fibu awe nakalia defo chava mchalo enaleka papeni
Mkwai. Yo mwatu kalipira twaumfwa mayo, Thank you very much. Let me bring in Honorable, Here is our dear regular caller. We'll just give him. My brother, just quickly make your contributions. I've already closed the callers and I want to ask Honorable KBF to come on.
Okay, na tokera sana wa ambassador ni bamunkonge aba.
Bamunkonge mwikokola.
Nderi la kufe kubena Zambia. Pantu fena nguni pa family nangu ni murupu abana bo ture kusha busho mwana anga chakwe ba chugu figwa pitirira. Mwe ba fya shimwana mu bika pesa nangu feni mu masukuru nangu ni ku primary fie. Mwana fya bepa fe yonze bakafunja nomba wachumo ba president ine mwandi nyamano yali ba yapwa because muntu nshirangu shikala mu Zambia ushamweni okwe bati bali against na biuteni na mu street bali enda badero balera ndamairo robalera ndaira press conference atawe ifuta twaire po mu street nomba chipiriwura shani kuri bakateka bezo ora tu pali economy na bena Zambia na bena kutu ayipsha fira ngo muntu na kwata business because ama right fuel na kwata business ya transport uleronga Lusaka kitwe yori onse motoka yobenga waronga fuel yakwira panshira abantu bonse bafuma mu banyina ikwete fuel abatwara ku Lusaka. At the end of the month, wapera reported in the Pangasan in Daramaine, cashing in a year sana Pamuru, Kumashani Avant. Because if you and Kanema right to Zambia to Aquata, Trefilokura Ronga, Irama business is Yareruka. But at the end of the month, I tell cashing Irenda Winosan, which is not good. But KBF, 12 when issue in Yaribaqueria, Kosa. Edio na Pamurando PF. Chipani chabo chisakamikwa sana ba KBF mumwalishi befintu chisakamikwa sana because abantu baramipora likirokora randa pali PF lyonse fika isova ishitayi kuroko edi fefine mule chitaya mule igia chirife bwino nokura bafako ba PF yafine pano no pano.
Thank you, Amunkonge. I see I've got Professor on the line. Professor, please just introduce yourself quickly to my guest, then we go to Honorable KBF.
Good morning. It's still morning here. This is Kalonde.
Yes, Dr. Kalonde.
My brother KBF, my brother KBF, we've spoken on some other forums before UPND came into politics, into leadership. I think you have heard the plea from the people. And I think that is the same plea that is on the ground in Zambia. People want you guys to come together. Honestly, you are playing your own game, but the UPND is taking advantage of the way things are in Zambia. Everybody cannot be a president. We know that a country can only have one president. And yes, it's a human nature for us to be competitive. And it's human nature for us to be selfish. But at the same time, we must understand that there is people's lives at stake that is supposed to be taken care of. So the plea for you guys to come together and choose a leader is now. This is the time that you can do this. And put your selfish interest, I don't mean you, KBF particularly. I just mean all opposition parties. Put your selfish interests or your personal interests aside and look at where the nation is headed today. I heard from the young man who spoke from Chicago about how much we are losing in terms of taxes. I pass through Kafulafuta when I'm in Zambia, and I see at the Web Bridge how much copper is leaving the country. Then I see the poverty in the country that is releasing such copper. And there is nothing in people's homes. Who is eating the money? Who is enjoying that wealth? It's you guys who are supposed to put things together for us to take back that country and put it where it's supposed to be. We enjoyed Muliwaka on the toilet, Quatana Muki school, Truno Mukakana Mabanzi. Only you shall be if Mariva Manamashmani, when I went to my issue, Homa Kurikumfurila. Inena Kurido Kitwe. But to Alishwa for Twaikele, and look where we are today. Please put your heads together and find a solution.
Thank you.
I
Thank
know.
you, Doc.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Let me bring in Honorable KBF. Honorable KBF, Seso Mbolela, who works, is a financial and credit risk manager, and he works for the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago. He admires you. I think you've met in the past. He has actually even sent me a picture of you together. He's bemoaning that the leaders have never resolved this. We have copper at the highest in the last 30 years. Is settled around $9,000 to $10,000 from the low periods of $3,000, $2,000 per ton. It's now home at $9,000 to $10,000. And he says, according to him, we are getting, if he calculates, $7-8 billion, in gross income from copper. But what's there to show for us? And Professor Gilbert Kalonde, who also says he has met you, is from Montana University. He's also asked a similar question and urging you to come together. You can add these two questions, answer these two questions together with what other callers stated. Then I'll come and invite you to say your last word.
Thank you very much, my ambassador. To all the callers, I'm very grateful for all your observations and indeed your insights. Professor and my colleague in Chicago, I want to say that we are not blind to the reality of how our country is being raped economically. We know what the UPND has done, and we know some arrangements they're into. The truth of the matter is our economy will not improve as long as we keep the UPND at the helm of power. And the reason for it is that the UPND has no economic plan, no vision, and nothing transformative that we can point to say that they're going to change the status quo. So that's the first thing I wanted to say. But all of you, as callers, I think the underlying common denominator, as Professor has alluded to, is that is that we must get together as opposition. And I think from where the ambassador and myself started, Ndefo Ukulanda, Pamenzo Yakwales, and all of you as Zambians, Zambia Must Prosper is here. And we are open to discussion, to our friends in Tonse, our friends in the PF. Let's come together. This is a cry of the Zambians. And we are not saying this out of rhetoric. I don't work for rhetoric when I'm planning elections. Now, my brother from Undola asked, what is the strategic plan? I don't normally discuss strategy per open forum like this, but I'll give you a hint so that we understand each other. The first thing we must aim for as Zambians, together, when we come together, is a landslide victory. I want to repeat that. The first thing we must aim for, and in our plans, is a victory. If you're fighting a champion in boxing, you must aim to knock him out so that there is no chance of anybody saying, no, maybe to split point decision. No, kumulo pola. So we must make sure that the UPND is knocked out and knocked out for good. I want that to sink in. Part of this strategy is how do we get to a landslide victory? We have a formula. We are calling it PLM. We find the purpose vehicle on which all alliance partners are going to rally. We are going to find a leadership, a team that we're going to build around this team, around this party. And then we're going to have a strategic message to deliver to the Zambians, which again will lead us to what my brother from Chicago talked about. We get to the spirit of what Wena Kashamba to Ambikustale Wanika, Derek Shitala, the late Dean Mungomba, the late Penza, our father Mwinga, and all these people. They came together as MMD. And they realized that maybe amongst ourselves, despite the big names like Humphrey Mulemba, Shamwana, Kriston Tembo, the winners, etc., they said, none of us can outsit KK. We've got flaws. We've got problems.
But there is this guy from the Copper Belt, the Chiluba, who's a unionist. Let's go and bring him in. And then they brought in FTJ. The game became easy. What am I trying to get at? I'm agreeing with Sesco. We must come to a strategic arrangement that right now, this is the person who can beat this guy. And we must gun ourselves behind and rally and make sure that we do. The third strategic attack is that we must make sure that in all that we do and say, the numbers are correct. The numbers must be correct. Look, in 1991, the UNIP party beaten by the MMD, despite the fact that they had structures across the country. They had numbers, but they were beaten by MMD. Why? The message resonated with the Zambians. In 2011, the MMD was beaten by the PF, despite the fact that they had structures a country. And they had money. They had the incumbency. But Wasata came with the message, low taxes, more money in people's pockets. It resonated. Don't Kubeba, it resonated. It's the messaging. We've been around. We know what to do. So when we talk about strategy, some of us know what to do. In 2021, fast forward, it was the same thing. Although, in this time, Hakainde Hichilema came with lies. He lied to the Zambians. The Zambians bought the story. We must come up with a message. Zambia must prosper. And I'm saying to my fellow opposition leaders, we have heard the cries of the Zambians. Let us take this message to heart. I know that there are corners and pockets of senior citizens who are trying to talk to us individually and collectively, trying to bring us together. The truth of the matter is, within and amongst ourselves, sometimes we don't come to the negotiating table with open hearts, with honesty and truth. And it is true that amongst some of us, there might be possible moles. So we must be careful. And this, for me, is where I'll end with the strategy. I think I've opened up just a little bit here so that people understand that this is where we are going to go. We are looking at numbers. Right now, we've got 2.8 million to beat, which is the figure that the UPND won the elections with. We have got partyless members of this country, partyless citizens who don't belong to any political party, but they want a better Zambia. Those we must target with a message. They are not interested in our politicking.
I think the network is cutting. The network is cutting, but Honorable KBF is on the floor. Is Bales Ondwelela. Let's just check the network. Okay, we had lost you there, Honorable KBF. You are back. I think the network issues. Yeah, you can contribute. You can continue.
I was talking about this strategy. We need to look at least 5 to 5 million to our side. And with the numbers we have in terms of the political parties, this is how you win an election. Let's work together. And we are willing. But when we come to the negotiating table, let's come with open hearts. As we say in the law, come with clean hands. Then we can work something for the Zambians. But Professor Chivalanda, what my friends have said across here in terms of what everyone has said, they're all crying for one thing, Zambia. I think the message is clear. Appointed with the UPND, especially the current president. Nobody wants him. It's not because they hate him. No, it's because he has failed. And that's the end of the story. So we must look to the next president. And that's what we want to do, leadership. If there are people who are better, we'll back them. But
but they must be better. And we must be convinced that they can beat this guy. Because for Zambia, we are ready to beat the UPND. And that's the message I have for the Zambians.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Ladies and gentlemen, we were hosting Honorable KBF. Honorable KBF, I'd like to thank you, and I'd like to wish you well in your endeavors. And I love your commitment to the opposition and your willingness to unite with the PF in Tonse and other political parties, and that you're determined to form some form of grand alliance where then that grand alliance faces Hakainde Hichilema. I wish you well, and I think as you've seen from all the callers, they think that President Hakainde Hichilema is not good for our country. He's a danger to our country with his tribal remarks, his economic disposition. Is clearly not good for our country. But you can see the anger in our people. That you, the opposition, are missing a point. You are squandering a great opportunity. Give us your last remarks, and then we close.
Let me thank you, Ambassador, again, and thank you for the congratulatory messages that have been pouring in. My phone has been off the hook since the weekend. A lot of people, especially from the PF, I must say, I've worked with the PF. I'm going to repeat the formula that I said to you, Ambassador. Forget about the watermelon now. This is the mango season. We are moving and transforming from green to yellow. Na tulepule mango tuambie okulia, because mango mukati iwa yellow. So for us, that is where Zambia Must Prosper is sitting. Pakayanda 2026. Let's move. We are ready to work with our fellow opposition leaders. Those that think we can work together, build a coalition, let's move. And I'm glad that within the alliance, we're talking individually with some political parties, and we're making headway. I also want to thank those senior citizens who are calling us individually, who are concerned about this country. And we hear you. We shall not let you down. And this is my promise as president of Zambia Must Prosper. We are ready to work with our fellow opposition party members, and we shall put our differences aside, choose the best candidate, and we shall win in 2026.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Honorable KBF. God bless you, and God bless your leadership and your party and your family as you continue to fight for our country. Dear viewers, thank you very much for joining us. We are glad that you joined and shared the broadcast everywhere. Thank you, and until we have another special guest, we take this matter it's just not a show. It's a show to help build our country. So even your cause for us to use this program and this office to unite the opposition is given. That is why we try as much as possible to bring your leaders together. You can see them. Even when they meet amongst themselves, you'll have assessed them as Zambians. So God bless you. And once again, thank you very much to my dear brother KBF.
political environment palindakai ilio mulepekanya okwisa tola molu bali muma elections ali no kwisa uyu mwaka uleisa bonse mumone okutila mwaleka ba mujine robonse abo bafuide okuchita participate. There must be fair play. There must be a level playing ground field. Takuli kutwala omulomo muli pate y'abanene mu kipani ky'abanene yo balekeni bayikalire. Tekutwala ekimfulunganya mu kipani ky'abanene kutira nga bafulungana ero n'ombatuka moni okuchimpya tulefu ya bonse chila chipani chai chila te kampeni abene balanda n'abantu mukumona okuchila bawine emyeo yabo mukongola abantu tebine mumirangire na mufichitwa kuya mukusansa abanenu kuchiranga twabachena nangu bakwatyo omwenso pakutira bekeminina awe natirena mashu ya kutira imwe abantu bakwalesa mukulu bashibantu muleke ukutila kyonse fyefipani kyonse fike minine te kutwale chimfunganya mufipani fyabanenu bayunipi ngako bali bafuire bayiminina kubaleka fye bayunipi bakeminine ba MMD bafuire bayiminina nga ba MMD tekutila we muntu nga wanaka mu MMD watira ati yo MMD twafumyako twaisala twachinjeshina nomba nala join muchipani chimbi chiteka nga wanaka kuyafye weka washaba no byabarefu okukonkanya pona MMD bachashani bakonkanya po pantu MMD tulehikabira unipi tulehikabira ba PF nabo bene nifyo fine tulebakabira nabo bene nga wanaka mu PF fumamo fye kajoinyo mu mwine morefu okuya joina sha PF ishale fye bwino fye ifiri okuba banayo ine tulechashani tulehikabira ba Citizens First nabo bene tulebakabira ba Socialist Party nabo bene tulebakabira abo bonza ma players nga baba on the ground bachitana campaign bwino mukwayi ero tukesa kwate okusala okusuma okwakutira bonse fwe bena Zambia no kachimfya tukatire no kutila mwabombeni eicho ndeko nkomesha amashui ayakutila bonse fye ba PF balekeni bakeminire tekutwala bingala to ya kutira yo tubafulunganye bakutira bekebini awe twakane efyo ba Citizens First nabo bene ba Socialist Party balekeni bakeminire ba MMD balekeni bakeminire nga ba MMD unipi na ile kenike bine in fact unipi nga yimi na chikawa manasani bado ni ndishi baba shikulu bantu na banakulu bantu bale kutiko okugo bomushina that is befe unipi achiti
emkwani
unipi atusabirishe free education ya chini wakasada no free education bulela ndaponda kai free education ya chini so unipi ngari minine kuti chawa masana pantu ni ndishi banakulu bantu abo bale kutikana bashikulu bantu bakakwata apa kusala ate
emkwani shifa shikofu tekumikata pamashiwi nalimo ni pesa mule mwena epali ubwafya uwa kutila tete bamo bafuaye filongani nefumo fya isa iminina edi ukuli ukusala ukwa chinkumbawile muli umwakole isa
bakasanda I think in my opinion ni nature ya politics ya tukwete icho lefu aliko kutila abakalamba badaba bakokona mu politics abatampile kale bafuire kula chita guide abaiche abareisanda kaima politics nga mamona bakasanda kuli ifo kwe bakalamba ine kutinati nimukalamba bakasanda bantu nimbona bamwe abo balechita campaign yokwisa aba Republican president bamo they are younger than me so ifo kwe bakalamba kuchitwala ndo kutira nga twalosha pali history ilio twali muri one party state mu unipi ifyo chashupire ifyo twaikele ero nomba nefyo chaishileba pano maya MMD lidanishitayira abana party yali fye movement for multi-party democracy yaisa tulubula yatufumya muri one party state no kuleta plural politics yaleta multi-partyism twamba no kuchitana enjoy na papa netufikire pali ndakai bakutire filongani no fyonse tyala kwate shuko lya kuteka Zambia lipamulandu wa plural politics eicho ifo fwe bakalamba fwe baliko tufuire okuchita promote okutila plural politics yakonkanyapo abaicha baleisa ndaka yabashifishile tufire kuto bakanya ati iwe ikala panshi leka tukonkanye po plural politics twasalire ilo twafumile muri one party state
bwafyanshi shifo shikofu nalimo mulandu wakashita epo mulemona ubwingesa abapo nga chakutela ifilongani no fimu va tafiminine ifyalefu kweba tifingesa minina kubuya ntanshubwa chalo wishe kutubuka kwabo bwafya buli bwose
obwafya obukalamba bakasanda abantu bamo nga chakutila pate yabo ngefine ndelanda bale bamama na bashukuru ni ba unipi balekabira unipi yala abapo ero domba tayiripo chibala doctor yangu bamfumisha apo chilongano chanita chilipo kanshinsha voteko nomba chirachide balanda tabavoteko nishaba bwati panti umuntu wala asalwa tasalwe n'abantu bonse abengi alasalwa peni pamulando wakutila abali emusapota ebasalire bali abashire emusapota pamulando wakutila ekirongano kyabo takiripo nishita bamusalireko emulandu ine kirefu ekiro okutila fyonse fye fironganino fyabapo okutatila muntu nakwata ekironganiro kyakwe ekyo afuire ayasala
Kwenyu ndemwe chabe mabanja onanjala mkomo ndalama zonse mutumbalano masukwa kuchuluka pa mutupatu. Time is up kwenyu not enough. Time is up for your lies and bluff. Time is up kwenyu not enough. Time is up for your lies and bluff. Kanizanu ndizopanda pindu anakulira miseu mwatu tikufuna chilengedwe chatsopano osati mapocket anu opindika ndalama. Listen to the cries, they're louder than your lies. You can't silence the truth. It's time for the youth. Time is up when you're is not enough. Time is up for your lies and bluff. Time is up when you're not enough. Time is up for your lies and bluff. We rise, we stand, we fight together for the children, for a better forever. When you kunata pano, we take the rain. Tikonza jiko.